Ever been here? You walk into a meeting where your coworkers are buzzing, laughing, vibing on high. Then they spot you and bam, the mood shifts. Faces tighten, chatter dies. The air gets heavy with unspoken tension, though no one says a word. What just happened? You tell yourself they're just wiped or the meeting's dragged too long. But what if it's not a one-off? What if it keeps popping up at hangouts with friends, in texts left unread? Here's the tough pill. Sometimes you're quietly shoving people off, not because you're a jerk or stirring drama, but through small habits you haven't clocked. They're sneaky, silent, but pack enough punch to turn you into someone others dodge, even if they never say it out loud. Don't jump to self-blame. In the social game, we've all got blind spots. The catch? If you don't wake up and tweak them, the ties you care about could unravel, leaving you scratching your head. In this piece, I'm pulling back the curtain on 5 hidden habits, quietly tanking how you connect. These aren't loud, obvious screw-ups. They're subtle moves we gloss over, dissected through psych, real-life grit, and stoic wisdom. I'll hand you clear steps to flip them. Not to kiss anyone's ass, but to live true to your worth, to stand tall in life's rush. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You're born to stand firm, not get swept by the crowd." Spotting these habits is how you grab the reins, not just in others' eyes, but in your own heart and head. If you feel the pull in facing these shadows to live tougher, stick with me. And if you believe this self-awareness trek can hit you and light up thousands chasing peace in the chaos, hit that subscribe button. It's a quick tap that costs you zilch but a flicker of heart. Yet it's the gust that keeps us rolling out deep, takes to help folks like you reclaim their inner strength. We're in this with you. Your move means more than you know. Ready to stare yourself down? Let's roll. Habit 1. Seeking constant reassurance. Picture a leaky jar. No matter how much water you pour in, it's never full. Always begging for more. Some folks are like that, forever feeling short and fishing for others to prop them up. That's the trap of constantly seeking reassurance. They're stuck asking, "Am I okay? Did I do good? Are you mad at me?" Like their worth is a puzzle someone else has to solve. This isn't humility or a hunger to grow. It's a quiet insecurity, a confidence gap that turns you into an emotional load for everyone around. At first glance, it seems harmless. Who doesn't need a boost now and then? But make it a habit, and you're not just tiring people out. You're pushing them away, left wondering, why's nobody sticking around anymore? Peek through a psych lens. This non-stop reassurance chase stems from emotional dependency. When you can't sign off on your own value, when you need others to stamp it for you, you're drafting them as your lifeline. That doesn't just chip at your swagger, it dumps invisible pressure on them. They don't want to babysit your self-esteem, but you're low-key asking them to every time you toss out, "What do you think of me?" The damage doesn't hit loud or fast. That's why it's sneaky. Early on, friends, co-workers, and family might play along with patience. "Yeah, you killed it," or "Nah, I'm not mad." But when those questions keep looping, that patience wears thin. They start feeling cornered, like every chat's a test they've got to pass to keep you afloat. Over time, they pull back, not because they hate you, but because they're tapped out from your affirmation hunt. Social psych studies back this. People dodge ties that demand too much emotional labor without balance. When you turn others into your sole comfort zone, you're not building bonds, you're stacking burdens. Think of someone you know who's always pinging you for input on every little thing. How they worded an email if that shirt works. The first time, it's fine, even flattering. They trust you. By the 10th, you're itching to snap. "I don't know, figure it out." That's the vibe you give off when you lean too hard on reassurance. Folks stop seeing you as an equal and start seeing a chore they didn't sign up for. Take Alex, a guy who fell into this trap without a clue. During a rough work stretch, he'd hit up coworkers nonstop. "Think the boss liked my report?" Or, "Was my pitch solid?" After every meeting, he'd text a friend, "Did I come off weird to the team?" Alex thought he was chasing feedback to level up, but nah, he was hunting comfort, a pat on the back to quiet his "I'm not enough" buzz. One day, a blunt coworker fired back, I'm not your boss, grow some spine. That hit Alex like a truck. Not because it was harsh, but because it peeled back the truth. Zoom in. Alex had turned his crew into emotional floaties. His questions weren't about learning. They were band-aids for inner jitters. The fallout? Some coworkers started dodging him at breaks, not out of spite, but because every run-in felt like they had to play therapist. Alex shrank himself in their eyes, not with big moves, but with those harmless asks. Worst part? He didn't see it till they drifted off. The lesson's clear. Others' reassurance might feel good for a second, but it won't plug your inner gap. It just makes you lean harder and shoves people further out. Stoicism's got the fix. Your worth isn't in what they say, it's in what you control. Your thoughts, moves, how you face you. Epictetus dropped, happiness is in what you grip, not what they hand you. Start here. Ask yourself, can I size this up solo? Instead of running for a hug, take a beat, reflect on your work, your calls, and your feelings. Jot down what you nailed and what needs work. Be your lifeline. Habit 2. Interrupting to dominate. Interrupting isn't chatting. It's hogging the stage, straight up rude. Picture someone cutting you off mid-sentence, not to riff on your idea, but to drown you out and plant their flag. Folks hooked on interrupting to dominate don't just break the flow, they stomp all over the respect in the mix. At first, it might look like enthusiasm or big confidence, but dig deeper. It's a screaming need to flex, turning talks into a forced solo act. You might think, I'm just jumping in to add something. But when it's a habit, you're not adding, you're ruling. And that's what nudges people away, not because they hate your takes, but because they feel unheard, disrespected, and done sharing space with you. Zoom in with psych. This habit often springs from buried insecurity or a control itch. When you cut in, you're signaling your piece matters more, that you can't wait or won't for their turn. It's not just a slip, it's a quiet power move putting you atop the convo heap. Social comms research says people need to feel heard to build trust and closeness. Keep jumping in, and you trash that, leaving them invisible, brushed off, and eventually checked out. The fallout sneaks up. Early on, they might let it slide, awkward smiles, shrugs, powering through your cuts, but it piles up. They start clamming up around you, or worse, dodging talks altogether. Think of a crew hashing out ideas. If you're always leaping in mid-sentence to fix or top them, they'll go quiet. Not because you're the smartest, but because they're tired of fighting for airtime. It's glaring at work. A Harvard Business Review study found chronic interrupters get tagged as low team players, no matter how sharp they are. People don't hate you. They just don't want to play a game they can't win. Worse, it's a paradox. You crave attention, but you make folks care less. Every time you override them, you're not bonding, you're building a wall. Think of Jake, dubbed the pro interrupter, without a hint till it tanked a key tie. A few years back on a team project, Jake would jump in while coworkers pitched ideas. Half a sentence out, he'd hit, "Yeah, but what if we do this?" Or, "I've got a better angle." He thought he was pushing the squad faster, that his hype was a win. Then one meeting, after he'd steamrolled the usual way, a teammate pulled him aside. "You've got solid ideas, but I never finish a thought. Makes me not want to share." That stopped Jake cold. He looked back and saw it wasn't just work. Friends, family, casual chats, same deal. Dig deeper. It wasn't confidence, it was fear. Jake was scared his take would get lost if he didn't blurt it. Scared he'd fade if he didn't steer. The cost? His crew started skipping him in group talks, leaving him out of brainstorms. Not because he sucked, but because he made their ideas feel like nothing. Jake turned himself into the center, but paid with distance from folks he wanted close. Hard lesson. Interrupting to dominate didn't snag him the spotlight. It cost him respect. Stoicism's got the cure. Real worth isn't in being heard. It's in staying chill and giving respect. Seneca said, "Listening's a nobler art than speaking." Start with patience. When someone's talking, breathe deep and tell yourself, I don't need to cut in, I can wait. Count to 3 before jumping in. Let them land their thought. Ask, do I need to speak now or just want the stage? If it's the latter, zip it. That's true strength. Listening doesn't shrink you, it grows you in their eyes. When you give them room to shine, they'll want you closer. Not because you talk big, but because you know when to shut up. Habit 3. Overanalyzing everything. Overanalyzing is like digging a pit in the sand. The deeper you go, the emptier it gets, and no one wants to stand close while you sink. Folks with this habit can't let a word, a move, or a glance slide without tearing it apart, hunting for hidden meanings or secret motives. They turn simple moments into tangled mazes, asking, what did they mean by that? Why'd they do it? Am I getting misread? At first, it might look like caution or street smarts, but as a habit, it doesn't just wear you out. It makes you tough to be around. People don't ditch you because you're wrong. They ditch the stress you haul in every time you show up. This stems from anxiety or a fear of getting shut out. When you can't take things at face value, when you've got to dig for the real deal, you're wrestling to control what's uncontrollable, others' thoughts and intents. It's a shield. If you can crack their true meaning, you won't get blindsided or hurt. But here's the twist. Overanalyzing widens the gap because your overthinking breeds wariness. Social comms research says people crave easy ties where they can speak and act without every detail getting judged or picked apart. When you overanalyze, you turn chats into silent courtrooms, and nobody wants to sit in the defendant's chair. The fallout's not just how they react, it's the vibe you give off. When you're always spinning, was that laugh a jab? They didn't text back fast. Do they hate me? You whip up a tension cloud others feel, even if they don't call it out. They get cagey around you, not because they're scared of you, but because they're scared of being misread. A casual joke turns into proof of beef in your head. A short text becomes a sign of distance. Over time, they clam up or steer clear, not because they don't like you, but because they're done getting sucked into your mental spin cycle. It's stark at work. Overanalyzers get pegged as tough to team up with because they complicate the simple, leaving coworkers drained from explaining or soothing. You're not building insight. You're building a chokehold. Sarah, who let this habit blur her bonds. At a team meeting, her boss says, "Thanks, everyone. This is solid." Sarah can't leave it there. She texts a coworker right after. Think the boss meant solid, or was he just being polite? His tone felt off. They shoot back. Probably real, but Sarah's not done. She keeps churning. What if he's not happy? Should I check? No reply. Sarah figures they're slackers, but nah. They're just tired of decoding a throwaway line with her. Zoom in. Sarah wasn't after clarity. She craved absolute certainty, something no one could give. Her overanalyzing didn't make her sharper in their eyes. It made her a stress bomb. Her crew stopped tossing ideas her way, not out of hate, but because they didn't want to wade through her headspace maze. The takeaway? Overanalyzing doesn't pull you closer. It pushes folks off, not with bad blood, but with burnout. Stoicism's got the fix. You can't know everyone's mind, and trying's a waste. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Don't dream up what's not there. See things as they are." When you itch to overthink a comment or move, pause and ask, got hard proof for this spin, or is it just my worry? No evidence? Let it roll off, except not everything's hiding a code. Practice mindfulness. Lock into the now, what's said, not what might be meant. Ditch the digging urge and you don't just lighten up. You get easier to vibe with. People catch that chill from you, not because you've got all the answers, but because you don't need them. Habit 4. Playing the victim nonstop. Blaming's the easy dodge, but when it's your go-to, it's also the fast track to shoving people off. Folks stuck playing the victim never own what's up. Everything's someone else's fault, the situations or cruel fate. They say, I couldn't do anything. They set me up to fail, or life's stacked against me. At first, it might look like a fleeting slump, a grab for sympathy. But when it's your default, it turns you into someone others don't want to roll with. Not because they're heartless, but because they're fed up hearing you gripe without ever stepping up. Playing the victim isn't a cry for help. It's a refusal to grow up, a ducking of your responsibility. This habit springs from dodging accountability and a deep-down belief you're powerless. Learned helplessness. When you keep pinning it on others, boss, buds, fam, even the damn weather, you're bailing on what you can grip. It's a short-term cozy. If it's their fault, you don't have to face your flubs or hustle to shift gears. But the cost? You lose the people around you. Think how it plays out. When you're always the victim, every chat turns into a whining loop. You spill your woes not for fixes, for pats on the back, for, yeah, not your fault. Early on, folks might bite, listening, nodding, hyping you up. But when they clock you're not budging, just milking the victim gig, they bounce. Social psych says people ditch one-way ties where it's all take, no give. When you're stuck blaming, you don't just sap their sympathy, you quietly dump your mess on them to fix, something they can't and won't do. It's not just distance. Folks lose faith in you. Not because they think you're weak, but because they see you rejecting your juice. At work, nonstop victims get tagged as slackers and sidelined from big gigs. In life, friends quit sharing because they don't want your negativity to drag. You're not building closeness. You're brewing burnout, and they split to guard their vibe. Lisa, who let this habit dim her bonds. At work, when a project hit snags, she'd say, "Boss didn't spell it out. How could I nail it?" Or, "Team didn't back me." Flops on them. She'd vent to co-workers not for tips, but for "I'm not the bad guy" vibes. Once, after a missed deadline, Lisa moaned, "I tried my hardest. Nobody cares." A teammate finally snapped, "We're all slammed. You've got to figure it out, not wait for rescue." Zoom in. Lisa wasn't after answers. She craved a free pass. Playing victim felt good for a second, but it pushed her crew away. They stopped asking her to take, not because she flunked, but because they were done with her blame train. Lisa thought they were cold, but nah, they just didn't want her endless spiral. Takeaway sharp. Victim mode doesn't score backup. It scores isolation, not from malice, but from folks hitting their limit. Stoicism's got the cure. You only take what you let in, and you've always got the power to flip your response. Epictetus said, "You bear what you allow. Everything else is your call." When you itch to blame, pause and ask, "What's in my hands here?" Even a small move, sharpening a skill, digging for info, tweaking your vibe, do that instead of griping. Owning it isn't self-blame, it's self-power, flexing your strength. When you drop the victim act, you don't just lighten up, you turn into someone others want to stick with. Not because you're flawless, but because you're tough. You don't need to save, you save yourself. Habit 5. Being overly competitive. Over-the-top competitiveness makes you a nonstop contender, even when no one signed up for your game. Folks with this habit can't let a moment slide without proving they're better, faster, or righter, arguing over tiny takes or flexing wins in casual chats. They say, "I just love a challenge," or "I'm pushing things higher." At a glance, it looks like drive, something to admire. But as a habit, it doesn't lift anyone. It drags others down and turns you into someone people don't want to hang with. Competing's fine, but doing it 24/7 doesn't earn awe. It breeds exhaustion and distance. Peek through psych. This often stems from insecurity or a craving for props. When you've always got to win, a debate, a game, a random story, you're staking your worth on outshining others. It's not real confidence. It's fear of being overlooked or outdone. You think if you're not top dog, you're invisible. But here's the rub. The harder you try to dominate, the less folks want to stick around. Group dynamics research says people dig teamwork and feeling equal in bonds. When you turn everything into a race, you trash that vibe. Picture it in real life. Someone shares a small win, like finishing a project early, and the over-competitive type jumps in. "Oh, I've done it a week faster." That's not hype or help. It's a power grab. Early on, folks might brush it off, laugh it away, and think you're kidding. But when it's constant, every story, every take a chance to one-up, they pull back. They stop spilling their wins or ideas, knowing you'll flip it into a contest they didn't join. At work, chronic competitors get dodged, not because they're slack, but because they make the air tense and unfriendly. You're not building respect. You're building a gap, not because they're jealous, but because they're tired of defending against you. Think of Ryan, who let this habit dim his crew. At a hangout, a buddy shares running their first 5K. Ryan cuts in, "I do 10K weekly, no biggie." He thought he was sparking a fire, but the table went quiet, no follow-ups. Another time at lunch, a co-worker mentions a project bonus. Ryan fires, "I got the fattest bonus on the team once. That's the real high." Bit by bit, folks stopped talking when Ryan rolled up. Dig in. Ryan didn't mean to irk anyone. He just needed the nod. He feared fading if he didn't stand out. But his over-competitive streak didn't score the props he chased. It pushed his people away. They didn't hate him. They were just done racing him in chill moments. The takeaway's stark. Always needing to win doesn't pull you closer. It isolates you, not because others can't hack it, but because they don't want your arena. Stoicism's got the fix. Real worth isn't topping others. It's inner calm and kindness. Seneca said, "Peace comes from living without rivalry." When you feel that win itch in a chat or scene, pause and ask, "Do I need to prove this? Does my value dip if I don't outdo them?" If no, shut it down. Let them shine. Practice humility. Swap one-upping for props or picking up tips. When you ditch the competition bug, you don't just chill out. You turn into someone folks want to vibe with. Not because you're the best, but because you let them feel enough. Your worth doesn't need a leaderboard. It glows on its own. You step into a room and the vibe shifts, but now you know it's not always on them. These 5 hidden habits, constantly seeking reassurance, interrupting to dominate, overanalyzing everything, playing the victim nonstop, and being overly competitive, aren't loud, obvious flaws, but they quietly chip away at how you connect. They don't make you a bad person. They're just blind spots anyone can trip into. The big win? You don't have to stay stuck. Awareness is your first move. Action's the key to flip it. When you ditch these habits, you don't just win back respect from others, you reclaim your juice, living true to your inner worth without needing anyone's stamp. Stoicism reminds us life's not a stage to perform or an arena to conquer. It's a trek to stand tall through the rush. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Your soul's got the grit to handle anything if you choose to see it right." These habits might have pushed folks away, but they're also your shot to look inward, forging confidence, patience, and humility. You don't need to be perfect today, just start. Pause before that 10th, "Am I good?" Listen instead of cutting in, and own it instead of blaming. These small steps don't just shift how others see you, they rewrite how you see yourself. If this dive into your shadows to live tougher hits you, stick with us. Hit that subscribe button if you believe these Stoic takes can lift not just you, but thousands chasing peace in the chaos. It's a quick tap and costs nothing but a spark of heart. Yet it's the fire keeping us rolling with content that hits the soul and mind of folks like you. What do you think of these habits? Drop a comment. Which one you spot in yourself? Or how'd you shake it? We're craving your story, because every share's a spark for us to grow together. You're enough. Start living it today.